Hey guys, Greg here, coming here with another episode of Greg's Bonsai. Today we're going to be showcasing one of my pomegranates. And if you recall from my earlier videos, I actually did a 2-video series where I had about 12 of these. I think I did like either 5 or 6 in a video. But now that these guys are a little bit bigger, I'm going to start separating them. So this is going to be ideally what we call pomegranate A. And the last video I did of this guy, I think, was back in September. And it's grown considerably since then. I think back in September it was about yay tall. So definitely has grown. It's been outside for most of the time here. I think for the past maybe couple weeks, I've had it in the grow tent inside just because I wanted to elongate the growing season just a little bit before I put these guys away for some dormancy between now and February, just so that it does get a little rest and does have some time to grow here. Or, yeah, rest so it does have some energy to grow, sorry. But you can kind of just see, I think it's about maybe 2 foot high now from base to top tip there. I will zoom in a little bit just so you can get a little bit better view of this. So we have the trunk coming out. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more here. So we do have the trunk at the base, and it's coming out 3 different ways. So I will probably be trimming most of this away come spring, just because you got 3 of these growing and it's got to spread that energy out. So what we'll probably end up doing, we'll definitely be getting rid of this middle guy. As much as I hate to do that, I almost want to leave these guys for a year just to grow. But the way this thing has been growing, it's going to be a bush before it's a tree, unfortunately. So what will end up happening is, I'm thinking this guy in the center and this guy coming off the side will probably just get chopped, and we'll just have this one strong guy coming up directly as the guy that's left, or maybe just this bend. We'll see, because this will be some interesting things to kind of bend. It doesn't have a whole lot of, I hate to say it doesn't have a lot of flexibility, but it does seem kind of rigid there now that I'm doing it. Not like this stuff up here that is very, very flexible, because it's more liquid than a solid in here. At least that's what it feels like. And you can get that nice, and I've showcased this before on my videos. You can kind of see up here at the tip, it kind of just changes from this brown to a greenish to a red, kind of like the inside of a pomegranate where you have that red juice. So it's kind of interesting to see it kind of grow like that, and just kind of see how you have big leaves, big leaves, and then all of a sudden it just kind of shrinks down. Now eventually these guys will be as big as what we see here. And we can also see down on the bottom part here that there's not a whole lot of leaves, especially going all the way up here. We go to this V, that's more like a pitchfork, really, on here, where all the leaves have kind of fallen off. We do have a little bit of growth coming back here, and I think we do see some swelling of buds starting back up here, but did definitely lose those leaves on the bottom, only because this canopy starting to cover up, and those leaves just weren't getting the light. And we can kind of see that down here as well. Water these pretty regularly, maybe every other day, every 2 or 3 days, just because they don't like too much water. But once you start seeing this get dry, this is already starting to show some signs of dryness here. It does have a little bit of dampness still on here. So once this starts showing really dry, then I give it a nice little soak. But like I said, I had these guys in the grow tent, and because of that, they were getting a really nice amount of light. Now I'm in zone 6B, and it's been getting frosted at nighttime, so I decided to put them in the grow tent. And now that I want to start getting them ready for some dormancy time, I've actually pulled them out. I have them in my garage on a shelf, and during the day I pull them outside, give them some sun, and then let them come back in here where it's a little cooler, probably about 15 degrees cooler than what I had in the grow tent. But just trying to slowly prepare them and move them out into my shed for where they're going to get their cool. And I have tried to research, because some varieties of these guys you can grow all year round inside, and other places I've been reading they enjoy having a nice couple month dormancy period. So I'm really interested to see what that case is. I might just split them half and half. But this guy is definitely probably my biggest pomegranate that I have so far. And like I said, I'm probably going to trim this guy back once the spring hits. It does have a lot of nice give. I said it was rigid, but it's very flexible. It's not like it's going to just break off, not unless I just really pull it. But I do really like the look of these leaves, the detail on them. Let me see if I can really zoom in on this so you can see what they look like. There we go, that's a little bit better. Nice green color to them, not too yellow like what we have on the bottom. But even over here, a nice green, a nice full darker green. It looks a little brighter on the video here, but it is darker, just because it's getting that full energy. And then there's new leaves kind of forming that are kind of like a reddish, like a blood almost, just like what you see on the stem and the twigs, branches. Sorry, the word just kind of escaped me, but just the same color as what the branches are, you can see on the leaves there. So the goal here eventually with these bonsaiing is I'm hoping that I can get the leaves to that kind of size, into this kind of size, instead of, you know, most of my finger size. And maybe I would just have to defoliate it just to kind of force it into that. But this is my pomegranate. Not much else to see here, just a lot of structure. And you can kind of see, even on here, this whole thing kind of takes a shape of a leaf and its structure, which is kind of fascinating to see. It's just that one branch out, and they just kind of branch out in a V form, just like you'd see on a regular type of leaf when you study leaves as a child. Kind of interesting. I didn't really notice that until I looked at it that way. But yeah, I will probably end up, like I said, trimming some of this, and especially if this gets too weighted and starts going down and whatnot. But I am interested to see how this goes as we go into the spring and we start budding. We will probably up pot this into something along the lines of, let me see if I can get this out, one of these type of pots, a number 1 pot, just to give it a little bit more height and a little bit more root area. But that's it. That is my pomegranate. So if you have any questions, please make sure to let me down below, or comments or anything about this plant. If you're growing them at home, if you tend to put them in the shed or a greenhouse or some kind of cold frame for the winter, or if you let them grow all year round inside your house underneath a grow light, let me know, because I'd be interested to see what everybody else is doing. I've got about 12 of these, maybe like 10. We'll go with 10 viable ones here, and I'll try to go through them all before I have to put them all away. But like I said, if you like what you saw, make sure to hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, put them down below. I love to hear from my viewers and see what you're thinking. And if you really liked it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's also the bell. That way you get a notification when a new video is posted on my channel. But this is my pomegranate today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Hey guys, Greg here coming to you with another episode of Greg's Bonsai. Today we're going to be going over Pomegranate A, and I think I did an intro video on this guy about a month ago, and it turned out really well. So I figured I will just do another one here now that we're a month out and see how it's grown and how it's changed since the last time I videoed this. I'm trying to remember, I don't know if I had these guys in the tent yet or not. But they've been in the tent for a little bit now, and you can kind of just see a little bit here let me see if I can zoom in just so you can see the leaves here coming in. They look a little different, they look a little off, and I'm not sure if this is just a seasonal thing coming in. I know some people have said that videos that I've watched, it's very different depending on who I watch on this. Some people say pomegranates can come inside and they can grow inside, so that's what I'm trying to do this winter, just to see how it goes. And just bear with me too, I am using my gimbal that I have because I'm going to probably end up trimming this guy a little bit because he is pretty massive, as you can see here. So I'm just going to probably trim a little bit here and around the sides just to kind of thin it down a little bit. I actually did, I have about 8 of these guys right now in the grow tent, and I've already been playing around with a couple of them, and I'll probably do some videos on it, but I have actually trimmed all of this part down to about here in hopes that I can get these buds to start erupting out. And the reason why I've done that, because people will be like, but Greg, it's like 80% of your tree. I know, this is all experimentation. I can get pomegranates pretty easily at the store. So this is not a lost cause. This is me just learning. But I've actually cut it, and I am starting to see some buds definitely swell. Let me see if I can zoom in here. And so you can kind of see here that there are budding areas. Now, I cut something about a week ago, and the top buds for where I cut are actually starting to swell up, and it looks like I'm going to be getting some seeds or some leaves coming out of it. So experiment 1 seems to be a success for that, so I'm very happy about that, how it's going. But we're all here to look at this pomegranate. So noticing a yellowing, okay, these guys have been on here for a very long time, so they've just been slowly kind of dying off and falling in the tent. I think some of that is just the climate change and just kind of finding a new area. Some of these guys that I have, the leaves are green like this, and they look great. Some of them are starting to form kind of like this guy up here, where they're getting a little weird, and that is new growth too, so it might just be that growth is coming in and it's looking like that. And then some of them just look really pale. Trying to see if there's anything here that could even look like that, but I don't see that. So my hope here with this guy is we're going to trim this, and that's why I kind of have it on the gimbal, because I'm going to put the gimbal down, I'm going to zoom out, and I'm just going to show you where I'm going to be trimming. We also just kind of have, like, even right here some dead area, okay, that's already dead. I've had to deal with some spiders a little bit in here, so you might see some cobwebs. I've just been slowly trying to get rid of them, but where there's light there will be spiders. You can kind of see right here, have a little bit of a cobweb coming in there. So where there's light there will be spiders, and that's just how it's going to be. So not much has changed on this since last month. There has been, like I said, some growth out here on the edges, but this guy, you can already see like this branch coming up, this guy coming up from the trunk. Too much weight, can't support it, so I want to trim it back, lighten its load a little bit, and let it grow some offshoots, kind of like this here. Okay, so what we'll probably end up doing is I'll be trimming down here and here and here, and just kind of giving it some life. Part of me is like really jonesing to really do a hard trim and see how it does, just so you guys can look at it and go, oh my goodness, Greg, what are you doing? And we may end up doing that. I may get through and trim it and just go, you know what, guys? I am going to hack the heck out of this. So we'll see how I feel by the end of this. So for right now, I'm just going to put this gimbal down. Just give me 1 second to zoom out and kind of show you what's going on. So my idea, at least for this guy that's coming up, I'm going to start by probably trimming to about here. Okay, so we're going to start with that. Just because this guy's got a lot of weight and I don't want to see it going off. So there's that. You can kind of see here how it's going. And it's been very thin. If you want to see, that's very thin. So you can kind of see why the weight has been like that. But already with cutting that off, you can see that this guy is already relieved. And I did cut at a 45 angle. And we're going to start, I'm going to trim back to about here on this. And there's already some growth coming out here, like it wants to already shoot out. So I'm going to start that off like so. And now this guy, I do have a little bit of growth coming here, but what I might end up doing is I think I might, I think I'm going to bring it down to here. And also cut that off there and see what happens from that. And wow, I am noticing a lot of cobwebs up here. And we'll do, let's see how this looks here. There you go. You can kind of get a nice angle of that. So this guy has a lot of weight. And I think the last time I showed this to you guys, I said that kind of looks kind of like a leaf all on its own, even like a tree, like you think of a Christmas tree. It's very triangular already, which is kind of neat. And we'll see if we can keep that style going. And we're just doing small trimming here, just to see what it's going to look like. And I should really, really eye it up this way. There we go. And what we'll end up doing here is we'll take a little bit of that weight off. Now, we can zoom in a little bit now and kind of see what it looks like. And it's definitely, well, that leaf is not completely off of there, and neither is that one. So we've shortened it up. And it looks like I've still got a little bit here that could be shortened up as well. But that does relieve some weight that's coming up. You can already see these guys are starting to go straight up instead of being bent down. So this guy had a lot of growth. I think we're going to even this out. And probably end up trimming these guys going in towards the center. I think we found our little spider friend. Let's see if I can get that. There he is. Say hi. He is being very... Look at him. All right. Put him in there with the debris. So that is a simple cut. I want to try and aerate down here a little bit just to break the top layer of dirt a little, because it is a little tough. It's been watered outside and watered inside. So that'll break that up a little bit. And hopefully put a little bit of air in the dirt below. So that's that. Part of me really wants to hack that down. But I think we might just go with that and see how it grows for the next month. I don't want to cut too much. Since I learned from the last one, it might be a little too much coming off. But we'll see if anything grows or changes from this. So let me know what you guys think about my cut. If I cut too much, if I cut too little, if you would have done anything different, if you would have gone crazy like how I thought and wanted to cut down here. Let me know in the comments down below. If you did like this though, make sure to hit that like button. And like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments below. And I'll make sure to answer them. I do like to try and keep the community going on my channel. We'll just get a little zoom in here of what it looks like now that I've cut this. Remember, this is Pomegranate A. I have like 8 of these guys. It's like the amount of lemons that I have, but I kind of figured it was a month away from when I did the last one of this guy, and he could have used a trim. You can definitely see that the weight is not on this anymore, and it's able to stand a little bit more upright. It does look a little sad now that I cut it, but I'm hoping that even on here, we start seeing some shoots come out and where we cut, just to try and branch it out and hopefully thicken these guys up a little bit more, get some of that ramification going. And maybe the next time I trim, we'll be trimming a little lower to try and get this size a little smaller. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think, and hit that like button. And if you really did like what you saw, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell that goes with it. This is a little different of a video on Greg's Bonsai. Let me know if you like this kind of style where I do a little bit of trimming on the video. And we'll see you guys next time, guys. Thanks. Take care. Hey everybody, Greg here, coming to you with another episode of Greg's Bonsai. And today we're going to be going back over my Pomegranate A plant that I have here. And if you've been watching this series, you may notice that it's a little different than how we left it off at the end of my last video back in December. That's because in December, these 3 little guys here were actually about yay tall. And after I did the video, and I even made a comment on it, and somebody made a comment on my video that he would have pruned back a little bit more. And, you know, the more I thought about it, the more I said, you know what, I agree with that. I didn't see a whole lot happening with it, with the shoots being all the way up here. So I decided to pare it down. We're only a couple inches up. And you can see after 2 months, really more of like a month, because I decided to cut this back down a little later. So maybe like a month and a half worth of growth here on this pomegranate. And we'll kind of just go into this here. But before we go on, just make sure to hit that subscribe button or like button. Make sure to help the YouTube algorithm for our channel. And without further ado, we're going to go on here through my pomegranate A plant that's been growing in the grow tent. And we've been growing it from seed ever since last summer. So yeah, this guy was pretty tall last month or 2 months ago when I first did it, and I decided to cut it back. I actually did that with all my pomegranates I had growing in the tent of all sizes. I just kind of decided to, you know, trim them down because these guys, as you can see, this is about a month and a half of growth. They grow back pretty robustly. Okay, when you trim them back, they just say, "Oh no," and they decide to kind of grow up rather quickly. So I have a three. Let me get in here a little bit more. I have 3 trunks kind of growing out of this main base, okay? And the base is pretty hardy, you know, pretty thick for its size. We will probably eventually scale this down as we're growing. I may end up getting rid of this middle guy or something, or just axing 2 of these and going with one up. But this is all just kind of playing around and seeing how they do. So that kind of gives you some context. These guys were about maybe a foot and a half tall when I cut them down. So I cut them down to about 4 inches, and just kind of let them sit there. And within a week or so of cutting it down, probably within a week, we started to see buds kind of grow out where there were leaves originally. And you can kind of see that even here where we have some leaves, you can kind of see how new buds are forming. That's pretty much what was happening here on this guy. So each one has 2 shoots coming out of it. And we do have a little bit of back budding growth here on these trunk lines, but nothing too crazy. It didn't go all the way down to like these buds here, but it did grow a little bit. And then at the top ones, because you can see right here, this is where I trimmed off. It decided to shoot out in a V, and it did that on the one right behind it and to the one right here. Now, again, you want to kind of, when you're doing this, you want to see where those buds would be forming. So this one, since they were formed right here, if I would cut all the way down here, we'd have a bud coming out this way, the same way this is going. So you can kind of see that as it goes up, it kind of alternates, all right? You can kind of see that here as well as you're going up. You can kind of get a little bit of an alternation going. Or this is a really great place to see it. We've got one coming out here, and then one that comes out kind of alternating, and then up here they alternate again, and as we keep going. So that's kind of one thing to kind of keep an eye on when you are cutting or trimming these, so that you can kind of know which way your branches, once they decide to come out, are going to go. All right. Now we can see that this closest trunk coming up has really grown. All right, so eventually, and we'll wait another month here probably once these thicken up a little bit more. I may even wait another month after that. But once these get long enough and start getting weighted down enough, because as these get longer, the weight is just going to, and that's really why I trimmed these originally, was the weight was getting there and they were just starting to bend a little too much to my liking. We'll probably do that, and we'll go back to, you know, somewhere around here. And we're gonna keep more of an eye on where we trim to kind of give this a little bit more of a shape as we start to define this a little bit more. Now these guys are, like I said, forgiving in what you do, because if you cut it back, it's gonna grow like crazy, like this. These guys can, especially in this formation, can get pretty bushy, okay? And eventually we'll be looking at going maybe one and kind of making this more like a tree eventually. And I do have a couple pomegranates I'll have to bring into rotation here for you guys to see that are more of a traditional straight upright kind of tree. But for now, I just kind of have the bushier ones to show off. So you can kind of just see the leaves are pretty dark as we get near the center, as they've been aging, and they look a little more wrinkly up at the top. You can kind of see these newer leaves forming at the tips. And again, we have this telltale new growth, okay, with the reddish inside. It's pretty translucent, okay? And as you get down here, it's very woody. But when you have this new growth, it's kind of translucent. You can see the red coming through. It's kind of neat to kind of see how it grows. And this is kind of like that same red that you see in the pomegranate itself, which again, pretty cool to see here. Just on a, you know, fascinating type thing. But I have had some white bugs trying to attack these. I've been trying to keep them at bay with some neem oil, and just trying to keep after them. You know, if I see them, I try and pick them off and things like that, because they do tend to weaken the plant. So in between waterings, I like to check all my leaves, because they just seem to be coming back with a vengeance right now. So yeah, that is essentially what we're seeing here right now. Just some nice growth, intermixing. So eventually, like I said, I'm going to give it another month, and then I'm just going to start trimming in here to get rid of some of this. You can already see some V's forming up, which is great. That can help me do some directionalized trimming to just kind of give it what it wants. And I'm not sure if I can see this on the camera. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here, but you can kind of see at the end of these leaves some sap coming out of them, and it is sticky. If I put my finger on it, I can feel it, and it is a little sticky. So that's actually sap that comes out of the trees. So the cool thing about it, I looked it up. It's just, you can kind of tell if you're watering enough or not. And I'm just at the end of a watering cycle here, where I just watered this a couple days ago. So that's all showing up. But the cool thing about that is that it's natural on these trees for the sap to come out right at the tip of all the leaves, which I thought was really cool. So as the sap thickens up inside the tree, if it's not getting enough water, the sap will thicken up, because the water is not coming up through essentially their blood vessels of the tree. The sap, the blood of it, essentially thickens up and starts coming out of the pores at the end of the leaves. So I thought that was really neat. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that now that I looked that up. And if I start seeing this happening, I know that it needs a little bit more of a watering regime. So kind of cool to know, kind of cool to see. I mean, and you can kind of see here, at the end of these, that some of the leaves just aren't forming, and that might just be my fault with some watering. So we'll keep an eye on it. I hope that made sense to you, because I tried to make sense with that when I was talking about it there to my own self. But I do try and keep these guys watered as much as possible. They do prefer a little bit drier at times, but at least that's what I'm noticing in the grow tent. So if you have any questions, make sure to let me know down below. Again, this is my Pomegranate A. If you did like what you saw, please make sure to hit that like button. If you have any questions, comments, concern about this guy, let me know down below. I tend to ramble a little bit, but this is just me documenting for myself, really, and for some entertainment purposes for you guys, just to see what's going on inside the grow tent, and so that I can hopefully monthly document each one of my plants. And I try to get videos out maybe twice, 3 times a week, depending on my schedule and holidays and just things like that, and how things grow, if there's been any changes with the plants. I eventually will hopefully look at repotting these, getting them into a little bit different pots. I got a couple bonsai pots, like training pots, that I want to try and get some of these in. And I know some people will be like, no, Greg, don't do it. But, you know, just trying to get the root structure trained as much as the structure up top. So like I said, if you like this video, please make sure to hit the like button. Helps the YouTube algorithm, helps me get these videos out there. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to see something specific on my channel, let me know in the comments. And if you really did like it, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell that goes along with it. Really helps knowing that I've got people viewing this and actually want to watch this. And I like to talk with my subscribers down below in that comment section. So please make sure to say hi down below. And until next time, this is Greg. This is Pomegranate A. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.